Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth Podcast. I'm Jack Smith.
I'm Srikar.
And I'm Anish Gupta.
And I know before we get into this week's wildcard breakdown, I told these two if they waited for the episode, they'd have their moment. So, the floor is yours. Take it away. I'm going to shut up for the next couple minutes.
Okay. So, there are these stories about uphill climbs, climbing to not necessarily the top in this case, but not last. I have been last 17 out of the 18 weeks in rankings of picks. I have been last in every single week, except last week. I finally came back. So basically, I was down 4 against Jack heading into week 18. And I remember we had a little bragging rights wager on who was getting last. And I remember Jamicki over here said, I will never get last.
I didn't say that. I said I've never been in
Or
last.
he's never been last. Well, talk about the jinx of the century, because Jamicki is last in picks. Srikar has been last in picks. I have never been last in picks. And here's what happened. Here's what needed to happen. I basically needed Detroit to beat Green Bay. Check mark. I needed Pittsburgh to beat Baltimore. Check. I needed Cleveland to beat Cincinnati. Check. I needed Miami to beat New England. Check. And I needed the Raiders to beat the Chargers. And it happened on Sunday night. Basically a 5-team parlay. And believe me, I have never hit a 5-team parlay yet. I've only done betting for 1 year. I've yet to hit one. This was the one I needed. And this is the one I hit. Ironically, I switched to Miami at like 12:45 p.m. or like 1 p.m. like before the game started, because I was like, all right, Miami's like 6-2. I don't know. I just felt like Mac was struggling the game before, so like,
or you switched to Miami because I switched to the Rams, which meant you didn't have enough games to beat me.
I will admit, because we are honest and objective on this channel. There was a slight notice of that prior to making that pick.
Yeah.
But we got it right. I was the only.
It's not getting it right if you just switch just cause.
I mean, hey, Tua came through for me, and remember, I'm the
that
only
ain't
one
that ain't a pick. That's not a pick.
That was a pick. And besides that, I am the only one to believe in 2 out of us 3. And Tua said, you know what? I appreciate you, Anish. I'm gonna do this for you.
It wasn't a pick six to like start the game.
I had to pick the rival that I hate more. Believe me, it stung. I was the only one to take Pittsburgh. It stung me. But you know what? They came through for your boy, and Miami did too. And the Raiders, again, the only one to pick the Raiders, Mr. Derek Carr, even though they stung me and ended the Browns season, they came through. So guess what? Final standings. Jack was 4th after going 8-8 last week with 168 and 103 record. I was 3rd after going 13-3. I think that's my best like overall week, in my opinion. 169 and 102. Nice number there. The fans beat me by 1 because they take SF because they're always biased. Screw you, fans. But yeah, they were 9-7 this week, 170 and 101. And then our crown, we can clap him up, our champion. After getting slandered last year for missing 7 Bears picks in a row. I think he was like behind me by like 13, but he came back this year. Kudos to him. He basically almost every pick he went solo on prior to this week, he won. So kudos.
Yeah, he had that. It was that dominant stretch of like 4 to 5 weeks down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, so he went 10-6 with the second best record this week and finished 175 and 96. So he was the only one that did not have 100 wrong games this year. So,
sir,
good job, Shriek. And I think the roast, Shriek, you want to roast Jack a little bit for jinxing himself. The floor is
I don't have much to say. I think you really covered it there. I mean, is this the biggest choke since 28-3? Like,
I think so. Really to go into 1 week of like, let me put it to you this way.
I was in 3rd place. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Like I said before the episode, a medal is a medal. But here's the thing. I don't think we've ever had like a bigger jump than like 2 games on a single week ever. And this was a 5-game jump.
Happened.
So yeah, this was probably a historic day for the record books in Cold Hard Truth Picks history. And don't worry, hopefully Jack doesn't get last next year, although, it's been trending downward since our first year when he had that Mickey Mouse win. So, I don't know.
I will say, I am at least proud of myself for not, being that guy, which you definitely would have done. Don't get me wrong. If you were up 4 games,
yes.
I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew I was taking a risk differing with you on 5 games.
I'm not gonna lie, I would have.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if I was you, I probably would have changed the Raiders.
No, what you would have done is you would have waited and we would have gone through the picks and you would be like, yeah, I'm switching to the Raiders. I just, think they're
Yeah,
gonna
I
win.
would have. Yeah, I would have switched. Or no, in this case, yeah, I would have switched.
You would have
yeah,
just switched. You would have seen what I put and then switched.
No, I would have waited. Because again, obviously the odds of doing it is very impossible. But if you were like 4 in, and because here's the thing, Sunday night, right? So we had to wait. I was like, all right, I probably would have. But hey,
but then you're switching to a tie. Like, what's fun about a tie? I'd rather lose than tie.
We're going into what ifs. Remember, I was told by someone the other day that you can who was trying to slander Carson Wentz, you can't live on what ifs. So I'm using their logic right here. Can't live on that. What's done is done.
I'll say
the comeback of the century.
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
I would consider myself, the one who won when the games actually mattered. Like, you named about 4 games that didn't
What do you
mean
week
jack
18
shit.
is where it counts. That is the final week. You gotta solidify.
Detroit, Green Bay, that counted. That mattered.
Yeah. Hey, I was
Cincinnati,
the one who bet on your boy.
Cleveland.
You didn't bet on Amon Ra? Come on, man. And I bet on my team.
You bet on the random games. And you got all 5.
Okay.
I will clap it up for you. Congratulations. You came back. You came in 3rd place, only 2nd to last.
Pitt over Baltimore was a crucial one. LV over LAC was a crucial.
There's 2 of your 5. And you legitimately fessed up to just switching to Miami. You needed it.
But like, okay, I was leaning I was up and down on Miami, and the thing is, like, every time I pick New England instead of Miami, they lose. So I was like, all right. If I lose picks because of that, I told myself I would have been so sad. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. If I lose, I lose. But yeah, I was like, because like there was no downside. There was like 0 downside.
That's a heartwarming story, but you don't fool me one bit.
6-2 in the final 8 games. Make it 7-2 in the final 9 games of playing New England at home. But yeah, I think let's get into some playoffs.
Actually,
enough about the past.
If you go back to the beginning, of the year,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I called it. I was saying that I would win picks. No, these two didn't believe. I manifested it from the bottom up. I said this would be the year I win picks, and now it's about defending that crown, going back to back. That's all I'll say.
We have to get a real crown, like for next year.
I'm gonna just keep it a buck, Shriek. You're not gonna win it again. We let you have it this year, but yeah.
All right.
Anish and I were actually conspiring together.
Facts.
We were like,
we were like
thinking back to that
bad.
Bengals Ravens game. We're like, he just needs his moment,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wait, because I think yeah. Ironically, I don't think any of us picked them in the game that they arrived. So yeah, we have the spreadsheet. I don't know if any fans want to look back on it. I don't know. We can put them up.
The spreadsheet looks epic too after 18 weeks with all the green and red.
Yes, it looks really nice, and I can see all the bias I had in the Browns pick. So that is something that
I swear I think I had more bias than you on Browns
yeah,
picks this year.
Honestly,
that's probably why
that is
I'm
a mistake.
last.
Jack and I will not, or sorry, Jamaica and I will not be. We're gonna call him Jamaica for the rest of the episode today. Just for today.
I'm coming. I'm picking the Browns every week next season. Super Bowl winners, right, Anish?
Yeah, oh God. It's okay. I'll be okay picking against them next year. I've lost my hope. Yeah. Every time we have hope, fail expectations. But yeah, let's get into some playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like speaking of Super Bowl, what you guys actually care about is us talking about some of these wild card games. If any of you have been around long enough to remember, we did like specific episodes last year for every week for picks, and that's kind of what we're gonna do again this week. We're going to go through their 6 wildcard games. We're going to quickly break them down, give us some thoughts, players we think are really going to play a key role, what each team needs to do to win. And then we're going to make our picks. New season, playoff picks are a completely different record. So you're going to get a playoff pick champion. You guys, again, like we say every episode, have a chance to be that champion. So go to our Instagram, vote on the stories when we get into it. But let's start on Saturday. We got 3 days of wildcard games this week. The first one is Las Vegas at Cincinnati, 1:30. Cincinnati favored by 5 right now.
Wow.
What do you guys think? Do you feeling the Raiders? You feeling the Bengals? Let's get into it.
The Bengals actually have the longest current drought without a playoff win. That dates back to 1990. The Raiders haven't had a playoff win since 2002. And we're going to get quarterbacks and coaches who have never been in this spot before. You look at Rich Bisaccia, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor. I'll say this. I am expecting something completely unexpected to happen. I would not be surprised by any outcome in this game. As for like the matchup that I'd watch for, I'd say look at the trenches. Offensive line play. Specifically whether Unique Ngakoue and Max Crosby can get pressure on Joe Burrow, because if Burrow has time and can get those shot plays downfield to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, I think it's going to be wraps for the Raiders at that point. Because also, here's another thing. Derek Carr is 0-5 in cold weather.
Yeah.
I think that's something we got to point out. Maybe a little nitpicky, but it's there. And if he hasn't won a game in cold weather, then I'm going to be skeptical heading into this game. But should the Bengals hold up against Crosby and Ngakoue, I think they're going to get some long touchdowns. I think Jamar Chase will have a great game. But if the Raiders get pressure and they can force Burrow into a mistake or two, I think they have a great shot at pulling off the upset. So I'd watch for the line play in the trenches. As for who I think is going to win, I'm going to say the Bengals, because they are the slightly better team. I trust Joe Burrow more than Derek Carr, which is crazy because I can't really trust anyone in this spot. So I'm going to roll with the home team. I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Wait, quick thing. I think maybe we should do like for each game, we could do one for whoever goes first goes last next. I think we can
that sounds good.
Yeah. Do you want me to go second, Jack?
Sure.
Okay. I think, I really get frustrated and but also like sad when people who aren't as, avid about football, or even that they are, I never hear them want to say like, oh, I want to pay attention to the line of scrimmage. That's the first thing I do before every play. I'm always trying to see, what packages are maybe being formed or what defense the defense is in, because it's very hard to kind of figure out what an offensive play looks like. But for defense, it's a little bit easier. And I think, again, as Srikar mentioned, this game will be won in the trenches. We know that Joe Burrow has the 27th ranked O-line, and we know that the Raiders' pressure has been really great as of lately. And as Jack said in our previous episode, Max Crosby, he, in my opinion, is a first-team All-Pro, and I think the Raiders have something there to build off of. And yeah, the secondary can be suspect a little bit, especially going up against this Bengals, squad. But also, we have to keep in mind that they have an extra week of rest, which maybe could have hurt their momentum. And the Raiders are on a 4-game winning streak right now, riding behind Derek Carr, who, like I said, right, has won me over. And I think, the key, as Srikar mentioned, cold weather. Derek Carr usually plays, Western Coast football, right? Like more than, I think it's like 13 games is on that side. And obviously he had to play 9 games this year in a dome. So to go up there to Cincinnati, and the last cold weather game he played was, I believe, at New York, and he didn't look good. So, that's something to keep in mind. And also, for Joey B, I just feel like he's one of those guys that can elevate in the playoffs. I don't think he's got a game that just will falter, or he's going to, just utterly collapse. This isn't an up and down thing from him. I don't think I've really seen a game from him this year, and I'm really hoping I haven't jinxed it yet, but I just haven't seen a game where I've said, wow, like what the hell was he doing? Even in the Chicago game, I thought his players let him down, which is why he threw 3 straight picks in a row, and like 2 of them were tipped. So that was all the way in week 2. But yeah, as of late, he's been on fire. I just hope the injury doesn't hamper him, because I think it was his ankle, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know if he's questionable. I'm looking at the injury reports right now. It says he's questionable with the knee injury, but he did full practice both days, so Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to pick the Bengals. I think this is one of the harder games to pick. But yeah, the home field advantage here, I think, is going to be really, really crucial. And for the Raiders, again, yeah, I know 2 of the games that they won were on the road, a part of that winning streak. But I think having that last game at home, especially against a good team, I think that's the best team they faced all throughout that stretch. Having the home crowd was really advantageous. So I think going on the road is going to be a little bit tough.
Yeah, my initial gut reaction is kind of like what I normally like to go off. But for the playoff games, you really want to start to break it down a little bit more. My gut reaction initially told me Bengals. And, we've been really impressed with the Bengals over the last several weeks. But then when I started to break it down a little bit, you can definitely see a way in which the Raiders will win. And I agree with you. It's going to be on pass rush. If the Bengals can't protect Joe Burrow, which the Chargers didn't do a great job protecting Justin Herbert from Ngakoue and Max Crosby and some of their interior pass rushers, they are very disruptive. They've got one of the best pass rushers in the league when it gets going. And Joe Burrow, if he's under pressure, won't be able to, like you said, Srikar, line up, make those deep throws, hit Jamar Chase, T. Higgins down the field. And that's an easy way that the Raiders can win. Their secondary, I agree, has been suspect at some points in the year, but I wasn't really impressed with the way they played against the Chargers. I mean, down the stretch, while they forced Justin Herbert to make perfect throws. And they were great on first, second, and third down. Like there's a reason it got to fourth down nearly every time, is because they were playing very sticky coverage. Whether they'll be able to replicate that against Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Uzama, Joe Mixon out of the backfield, I don't quite know yet. But there's definitely a possibility. Like I don't want to rule out the Raiders at all. I'm going to pick the Bengals just because I think Joe Burrow, has that mentality. Like he's such a big game player. And I do think that, like, while there's the chance that the Raiders win, I think the matchup favors the Bengals a little bit. And you're right. The fact that they're going to be playing at home, Derek Carr struggles in cold weather games thus far into his career. I think matchup leans Bengals a little bit, but there was definitely a part of me that was looking at this game and saying, okay, the Raiders have a pretty good chance. And for them to just make the playoffs after what has happened to them, kudos to them. But I know they want to go out and get a win. It's definitely a possibility. I'm not ruling it out at all.
Two things before maybe you guys want to switch it over. One is, as you mentioned, Jack, Joe Burrow in like big games. Two biggest games of the year, I would argue, was the first Ravens matchup where they wanted to prove they were legit, and the Chiefs game. Yep. And those were his two best games of the year, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, you can talk about the 500-yard game, but that was against, Ravens kind of depleted team. So, yeah, I think
we've also seen him at the college level win just about every big game he was asked to.
I would say, yeah, I was going to even mention the championship game and the 7 touchdowns in the first half against Oklahoma. So, but one more thing regarding the Raiders is that my gut actually was leaning Raiders because it's very hard to beat a good team twice. And I think the Raiders are a good team. I think they've, built around this culture, riding together, amidst the adversity. I think that's kind of been their motto this year. So yeah, Cincinnati did kind of steamroll them, at LV, and now they get them at home. But as I mentioned, right, which is why I can see an argument for the Raiders and why my gut was leaning there, is because it's very hard to beat, a good team again, even especially if it's just, maybe 4 months down, you have film on the same team. But yeah, I think we're all slight edge to Cincinnati.
I think that definitely, like, that moniker definitely works. Like you look at Georgia and Alabama, like you kind of got that feeling that, it would be a lot harder for Alabama to win the second time around. But when you have more time in between, when it's not 1 month and it's, a good chunk of the season, I feel like it's a little bit easier because each team has a lot more on the team. It's not like you're going right back to it. Yeah. I'll start us off like we were talking about. New England Buffalo is the next game, the night matchup on Saturday night. This one was giving me fits. Like this is, in my opinion, probably the hardest game to pick in wildcard weekend because you get the feeling like Buffalo should win this game. Buffalo is the better team. They have more talent. Quarterback, I believe, is far superior. Josh Allen to Mac Jones. Great coaching. It's going to be at home in Buffalo. The last time these two teams played, Buffalo really dominated the game. While the score was semi-close, I really think that Buffalo kind of really had a stranglehold on that whole game. But it's the New England Patriots. I mean, we say this just about every single time. It's the New England Patriots. And while, they haven't been super impressive down the stretch, their offense has struggled at times. If you're able to stop the run, you beat the New England Patriots almost every time. But it's the playoffs. It's Bill Belichick. No one in the NFL right now has more experience coaching in big games. Yeah, I guess maybe not wildcard games because they would get the 1 seed so often. But
yeah, facts.
He has experience. I've talked myself into it. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. I really don't want to do it. I think Buffalo should win this game. I think they match up very well, especially in the cold with the New England Patriots, because I think that they will learn from their mistakes from the first time. But it's the New England Patriots. And when you play a team, like it's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to play a team 3 times in the season. And I just think like if I have to pick between McDermott and Belichick, who can game plan for that third game the best, I'm going to go with the Patriots. And that's, oh my God, it feels bad because I really want to pick the Bills. I really think they're the better team.
I guess I'm second in the rotation. So maybe we can switch it up that way. I don't have to go second every time. You guys have to go first or last. Maybe
you can go first for the next one.
Darn it.
It's Philly, Tampa Bay.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. So for this game, I think what it comes down to, a lot of it is narrative, I think, especially for this one. I think for all divisional matchups in the playoffs, a lot of it has to do with narrative because it is always the third time that the teams will face. And I think for the Bills, this is probably the biggest matchup that they could have gotten. Like if they gotten the Raiders, I think we all would have picked them and, it would have been like a kind of easy thing for them to go on. But for this, I think if they win this game, right, it really establishes themselves as the bigger brother in the AFC East, because the Pats really honestly throughout the year were saying, hey, hold on, we had one bad year. We've still, look at our 18-year track. We're still, right here. And for Buffalo, if they win this game and Josh Allen wins this game, it really cements themselves as the true best team in the AFC East, honestly, maybe beyond this year too, because I think, it's very hard to see a playoff team, especially your divisional rival, again. So I think we'll probably only get one of these, maybe again, I don't know, but I would lean on no. So I think if the Bills win this, this would be huge for their morale boost, and especially for Sean McDermott. And as you mentioned, Jack, I know it's hard to bet against Bill Belichick, a guy who prepares in every way possible. But I think the biggest, and it is going to be a 0-degree weather game, and the Bills lost the colder one. They won in good weather. This one's not going to be as well. But here's the thing. I just think the Bills can score more than the Pats can. And I think, playoffs sometimes, and they do oftentimes, come down to the better quarterback. And this is a guy I've believed in for a long time, and I want to keep believing in him again. He has shown nothing for me to say, hey, why stop now? So I'm going to go with Josh Allen, and I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, and Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer will get the last laugh.
Buffalo's offense, specifically Josh Allen, have really struggled in cold weather. If we look at 5 games in which it was 31 degrees or less at game time, Josh Allen's 3-2, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in the coldest game, that Atlanta game, he was awful. Like, he was terrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
I'll defend him. Like, okay, I get it. His passing stats were awful, but okay, he had a couple of drops, and also look at his rushing stats when they needed. I watched the last episode, and I said when they needed him the most about like 4 times. So I'm going to refrain from saying that, but he made plays with his legs that were crucial in the game. That's
exactly my point. He made plays with his legs in cold games. Mm-hmm. Now, Bill Belichick is known in every game to game plan and take away one thing of the opposing quarterback. And in this case, I think it's going to be Allen's legs. And they're going to try and keep Josh Allen in the pocket, force him to throw into the elements, because that's the way that Josh Allen is going to struggle. That's the way you're going to win. And I think Bill is smart enough to know that. The other X factor is, you're seeing Bill for a third time. Like, he knows how to game plan for you. Just seeing him for a third time is scary. This is his third crack at stifling Buffalo, and, he knows what he's going to get now. As you said, it's going to be like 0 degrees. It's definitely advantage New England. But the Pats also need to score points. That's the thing. Can Mac Jones really keep up with Josh Allen, even with Bill scheming against him? I don't know if he can, especially if the Bills get out to an early lead. I don't trust Mac Jones to come back in this game and, keep up. I'm gonna say Buffalo's offense does sputter. It's not going to be as good or as effective as we've seen, in weeks before. But the Patriots don't get enough from Mac Jones to win this game. I think that's what it's going to come down to. So I'm going to take the Bills here.
Yeah, wait, Jack, I'm just curious, because since you are taking the Pats out of us too, I think you're expecting a low-scoring game then, right? Because I think
absolutely.
That's the only way
it will be,
right? The Pats can really win this game.
I mean, you remember my takeaway that, like I said, it was like 4 weeks ago now, the Pats will not win the Super Bowl because of Mac Jones. Like I said,
exactly. And I think
too much.
And now, I've finally started to agree with you, but I think if they win this game, then all bets are off. I think because if they can prove it to me in a playoff game in this type of atmosphere, I think then, you really got to start fearing them.
But this is like the one atmosphere I think they can win in. Like I don't think they can win. Like
at Kansas City.
I don't think they beat.
I would give the edge to KC, but if they go at Tennessee, I think
Tennessee's a team that, like, we're gonna get to that next week. I don't know how much I believe in Tennessee. They do get Derrick Henry
I think they're
back.
being slept on.
Yeah, I agree.
I worry that I'm sleeping on them too much. But
they're getting healthy, man.
Well, they're getting healthy at the perfect time, right? And Julio finally made some plays in the game that they really needed. AJ Brown, obviously, the game against San Francisco, like, he is back. And then Derrick Henry, but we'll save the Titans talk for next week. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the score.
Yeah, I just think it's just the atmosphere that really plays to their strengths and like kind of diminishes their weaknesses, because you're not going to need in the cold. Mac Jones isn't going to throw the ball 30 times.
Yeah, right. But you also can't run it. However, I think they ran it like 40 plus. I think
but you find that like slight middle ground. He'll throw more than 3, but he's not going to throw 30.
Yeah, agreed.
You want to start us off, Philly, Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Here's the thing. I mean, I think I've been the biggest Eagles kind of believer slash, talk up. Like I've been talking them up a lot.
I give them respect. I don't think they're still like, a very great team.
Yeah, I will give you that. I just think, yeah, I mean, I was very excited for this new stint. As much as I was sad to see Wentz go, I was kind of glad he left it. I mean, everyone thought this team was a 5-win dysfunctional organization with, Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, and Nick Sirianni, who couldn't even, stop stuttering at his first press conference. He's come a long way, man, and I'm so proud of that. And for this Philly team, everyone's going to point to how they haven't beaten a playoff team. They're 0-7 versus teams with winning or playoff teams, and 1-7 with winning records, with that win being against the Saints. But for them to come this far, I honestly think they make it a little bit of a game early on. Just because I think, their rushing attack has been the best and most balanced in pro football this year. Like Sirianni was literally asked or getting called for his head just because he wouldn't run the football. And he said, all right, watch this. And now they've taken off almost getting 200 rushing yards, like in, I think it's like 4 games or something. Like they've been really, really good running the football. And I think that's going to be the key, because the best way to beat a great quarterback is with a good running attack, because you take the ball, you melt the clock, and you keep the ball away from him. So that's obviously what Philly's going to lean on, but Tampa has the best run defense, and they're still healthy in that area. And obviously, who do we trust more, Tom versus Jalen Hurts? I always say it. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. We've done this. I don't bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. And why would I here? I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Even with all the injuries, I think they have some injuries on the receiving core as well, with Tyler Johnson and the number 15. I'm forgetting his name, but
Miller?
No, not Scotty. The other guy. He caught the game winner against
gosh.
It's like,
oh my God, it's on like
G,
Grayson. It's
yeah.
Cyrus something.
Yeah, so something like, apologies for forgetting, but yeah, I mean, that just goes to show how much receiver depth they have and what's been rotating.
Well, I mean, it's definitely not Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown. Like that's the argument people are making against the Bucs right now.
And you can put Darius Slay on Mike Evans, right? So
yep.
I mean, hey, anything can happen. I honestly, like, if this was like a Philly plus 11 type of spread, I would honestly take the Philly plus 11.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say spread. It's 8.5 for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no, when push comes to shove, I think Tampa will kind of win. But I think, yeah, I mean, you could argue single digits, but as long as they get the win. Remember, they played Taylor Heineke and it came down to the wire. But Tom over Hurts.
I'll go next. You said most of the things I was going to say. Philly, respectable season, especially because they were in some places the betting favorite to have the worst overall record in the NFL this year, and they made the playoffs. They're the 7th seed in the NFC. They get to go up against Tom Brady in the playoffs. It's not an envious position to be in, but the fact that they're there, like we said, for the Raiders, and we'll get to for the Steelers eventually, congratulations to them for fighting through a lot of the stuff off season wise and through the season. But I just think they kind of meet their maker in this game. They played pretty tough against the Bucs when they played in the regular season. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of like their best effort. And I believe it still was at Philly too. Yeah, and it still fell short. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay in this one. They've got, like you said, you could put Darius Slay on Mike Evans. I still think Evans makes a play or two because he's pretty clutch in that aspect. But who do you have to cover Rob? Or who do you have to cover Gronk? Like, who do you have to stop Leonard Fournette? I think the linebacker position specifically for the Eagles will kind of be their downfall in this one, on the second level of runs and guarding Gronkowski and some of their other red zone threats. I think it'll be closer probably than people think. I don't think I would pick them 8.5, but like they're not going to get blown out. It'll be a respectable game. I'll go Tampa by 10.
Okay. Of all the NFC games, this is definitely, the mismatch. Again, the Eagles haven't beaten a team all year with a winning record. It's the defending champs with Brady at the helm. There is a huge disparity when it comes to experience at quarterback and head coach in this game. It's Bruce Arians and Tom Brady versus Sirianni and Hurts. I will say this though: if the Eagles are going to stay in this game, Sirianni has to get creative in the pass game. You guys touched on it, but that run defense is going to be stout, and that is pretty much Philly's bread and butter. It's what they love to do. It's run the ball, and they're very good at it. But against Tampa Bay, you just can't do that. You got to find ways to win in the pass game. And the Eagles, unfortunately, I don't think they have multiple ways to win, which is, huge in the playoffs. That's how you have to win. They have a bright future. Jalen Hurts, very talented quarterback. I think they have to give him another look going into the future, obviously. But Yeah, as Jack said, I think they meet their make here, and I can't bet against Brady in this spot.
Yeah,
let's get this. Let's get this.
Sorry.
This is not their year. Like their year is the next couple. They have 3 first-round picks this year for a playoff team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing too, for those interested in scheme, I think as Srikar mentioned, I think for Tampa, what they're going to do is stack the box, run a lot of cover one. And that's just going to make, they're going to make Jalen Hurts throw outside the pocket and make plays, that he has to down the field. And aside from Devontae Smith, I don't really trust any other Eagles receivers to get anything from, okay, Dallas Goedert if he counts, but that's it. And yeah, okay, the Bucs secondary is kind of weak, but they're getting players back. They have their 2 starters, Murphy Bunting and Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. So it's not like these guys have no experience. They were part of the Super Bowl run. So
and they're getting healthy too. That's the thing. The Bucs are getting healthier. They're getting Leonard Fournette back too. So
Levante
David's coming back too. So that'll be a tough day for Dallas Goedert. I think 2 of the best line or. Devin White is fast.
We saw what happened with Kelsey. So
yeah, you're right. I think it's tough for Philly, but their years are down the road. They're gonna load up in the draft, and so definitely respect for what Philly's done, but you can't bet against Tom in this one. All right, so our next game to get into is San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys, 1:30 on Sunday. Dallas right now favored by 3, but that's just the little buffer you get for playing at home. So Vegas sees this as a dead even lock. So I think we could go any way on this game. Srikar, you went first, or last time, so you can start us off this time. It's also your hometown Niners. So what are you thinking?
Yep.
Yes.
I think this is the best game of the weekend. That's not even me being biased. I genuinely think this is the best game on the slate. I think the nostalgia for like older fans is going to be great in this one because if you're a guy in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you're going to love to see this game. You're going to love the history behind it too. Man, the Niners are dangerous. We saw that Rams game, how they rallied back from that 17-point deficit after Sean McVay went in the end zone and celebrated with his players and didn't get flagged.
We have to talk about that.
Sure we do, because
we don't.
The first time he's ever lost a halftime lead. You got to bring that up too. Look, the Cowboys are also division champs. They're loaded with skilled players. This is going to be a great game. I think if San Francisco can run the ball effectively, like in the second half against the Rams, just play that physical bully ball, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to match it for 60 minutes. And honestly, they have playmakers. They have Deebo Samuel. They have George Kittle. Can the Cowboys keep that in check for 60 minutes? And also, it's Kyle Shanahan against Dan Quinn, which is going to be a great matchup there. They both know stuff about each other. I'm going to say the Niners pull off the upset. I'm not even being biased. I think it's going to happen. Look, because if they can run the ball, they play bully ball, it makes the offensive line's job harder, but also it can wear down Micah Parsons, it can wear down DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory. Hopefully it can kind of, limit them to a degree because Micah Parsons is obviously going to be everywhere. I'm going to go with the upset. San Francisco might be the better overall team than Dallas. I'm being completely honest. They might be the better overall team, and I like them in this game pulling the upset. And also, we might be getting a, 60-40 home crowd in terms of Cowboys to Niners fans, which will be big. And, if the Niners can get, they travel well. If they can get them with their fans in the building, I think it makes all that more of an advantage.
Before Anish can hop on, I'll join you. I'm taking San Francisco too. This was one like gut feeling. I've marked this down almost exactly when the playoff matchups hit. I was like, the Niners are going to win this game. This is going to be maybe the best battle in the trenches we've seen all season, and we'll see for a couple seasons. I mean, the Niners offensive line versus the Cowboys defensive line and vice versa is going to be such an entertaining matchup. And you mentioned, Srikar, both teams have playmakers. I mean, like Dallas is often regarded as they've got all that offensive firepower. San Francisco has the number 1 highest graded set of wide receivers and tight ends by PFF on the season. And so, it's going to be a battle both ways. I think you're totally right, your analysis. And if the Niners can commit to running the ball, which we've seen even down like 16-0 last week to the Rams, they stayed committed to their brand of football, which is running the ball, and they were still effective in it. And the better they can run the ball, the more they can limit Dallas's ability to pass rush and, run past blitzes, which is what has made Micah Parsons so valuable this year, which is how they get the most out of their players and what has really revived their defense this year. So the more the Niners can run the ball, the more they can limit that. And I really think that that's how you limit this opportunistic Dallas Cowboys defense. If you take away the sacks and the picks, they're still able to, be moved on, because we've seen they've given up a lot of yards this year, but they are very opportunistic. I think running the ball is a very good way to limit their defensive production. And like we've seen, Jimmy Garoppolo, when it comes down to the big moments, while he's not, like I said last episode, he's not the best quarterback in the world. He's been really good for them in these clutch moments. So yeah, I'm just feeling the Niners in this one. And this is one of the picks I was like genuinely confident about, and it's an upset. So I'll take it.
Damn, I wanted to take the Jimmy G type of thing because, this is my little jab at Srikar because we watched the game and he was calling for Trey Lance for a good maybe 30 minutes. And I said,
well,
there is I'm
see that first half.
No, I don't care about the
awful.
first half because when it mattered, he led a 92-yard drive in 90 seconds, okay, with I think one timeout. So, and he made all the throws needed. This guy is a winner. And
listen,
again,
I'll say this: people wonder why Niner fans are so quick to switch up on Jimmy G. It is because of games like that, right?
I get it.
100%
He's
because
inconsistent, but look at
Very
the overall picture. When has he let you? He's let you down one time, and I get it. It was that throw to Sanders.
Well,
but we
he let
also
us
have
down
to look
in
at
that Titans game too.
No, but
He
you're
did.
in the playoffs. That's what matters. Okay. And win that game, you're not winning the division either way or getting a home playoff game. So really grand scheme of things, I don't think we can use that. He's helped you more than he's hurt you. And I know it sucks because I said it also in the takeaway that I posted. He probably won't be on the roster in 2022. You have to see what you have in Trey Lance.
Yeah,
you gave up too much for him, which again, that's why I didn't like the trade. You had him. You still have him till 2023, but enough about that. Let's focus on the game. As Jack also mentioned with, the trenches, I think we're the only podcast that really focuses on that. Like I watch a lot of other ones. They always focus on the big names, the skill players. Focus on the trenches. That's what wins or loses games. And as Jack mentioned, this is probably the best matchup of the six. And, one thing that I always notice throughout the playoffs, there's always a 3-6 upset. There's always look back at the years. There's always a 3-6 upset. And this is going to be my 3-6 upset. We're all sweeping San Francisco, which is really
Fans are going to too.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I guess it's going to be a 4-way sweep. But yeah, one thing also, the Cowboys do run a lot of zone coverage, and there is a dude who can just beat zone coverage at will. He can beat man coverage too, but Deebo Samuel,
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk's pretty good,
Yeah. Yeah, but Deebo obviously thrives in that, and the Niners do get the ball out quick. And as Jack mentioned, they run the ball a lot, which will be very detrimental to a Micah Parsons, who kind of thrives on this, beating the running back to get to the quarterback. But that takes a little bit of time, right? Because you're max protecting with a running back. So, if the Niners don't really do that, which is why I think, they were able to limit Aaron Donald in certain key plays. And I think they're going to do that here again with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. So I got the Niners here. And as Srikar mentioned too, the home crowd, it's not going to be as much of a home crowd. There are a lot of Niner fans there. It's an old town rivalry. This is stemmed back 40, 50 years. And yeah, I got the Niners in this one. And it just sucks because, you paid $75 million to Dak Prescott in total money. And he's only got one playoff win. And this would be his third playoff loss, I believe, to show for it. Or fourth, I think.
Packers.
Yeah. Packers.
I'm not
Packers,
sure
Rams, and Packers, Rams in this. So yeah, it would be his third.
I'm going with the Niners. I don't think it's going to come down to Dak Prescott losing the game though. And I feel like if they matched up with basically any other team in the NFC, like I would legitimately feel strongly that they can win. I think they could beat both the Rams and the Cardinals right now. Like neutral field, I think they'd beat both of them. But I don't know. I feel like the Niners match up really well against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. But like for Dallas, I mean, I feel like Dak has, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Dak has lost you some games.
Yeah.
Where he's put, your team in position. So it does come down to that. And the teams where he's just, again, 6-0 against the NFC East, 6-5 against other teams, and Dak Prescott against the NFC East looks like a god. And then aside from that, they're putting up 50 points, and then otherwise it's just really competitive. And they should have lost the New England game. So it should be honestly 5-6. But yeah.
We'll see if they move on. I think they could still be an entertaining team, a competitive team down the stretch. Unlike the Steelers, like I don't feel bad for slandering the Steelers as much as I have been. Like I'm just still upset that we're getting them over Justin Herbert in the playoffs. Because not gonna lie, I might have picked the Chargers against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Not taking the Steelers. I'll start us off. I'm going with the Chiefs. I mean,
oh come on, what? I was last. I wanted that one, but okay.
Right, you can go next. Do you agree with me? You want to hop on the train right off the bat?
No, I'm taking this down. Yeah, it's not even fair. Like it pisses me off so much that I don't get to see Burrow, Herbert in the playoffs, and I could really make a decision. That's what I've been, because now that question just won't get answered. And, and I'm going to see a lot of recency bias. I'm going to see a lot of takes that I just don't agree with. But if, a definitive answer would have been great. But now I got to see an old Big Ben who doesn't even have confidence in his team. I'm really hoping that was taken out of context because I didn't watch the full thing. I'm praying it was, because what the hell are you saying? Like, this is your final game.
What do you have to lose by saying?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you have to lose by saying, oh yeah, we're confident. This is your last game you're ever going to play, probably.
Like this, if I'm the Steelers, fine. I'm heavily doubted. Whatever. Go in with no regrets. Like this is a game that you can really lay out all the cards, lay everything out on the table.
I think that's what he meant to say, but he just said it the worst way possible.
I don't know. Like, it really didn't seem like he was too, excited about this game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think he left it all out on the field against the Browns on his final home. I don't know.
I bet he wasn't expecting a playoff berth. That's what it is.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they had a 10% chance to make it. They were gifted a spot. Okay. They were gifted it. They were other teams that I believe deserved it way more. But you know what? They're here. And I've said this time and time again, you just can't count them out. And it is hard to beat a team twice, but it is the Chiefs at home. It's very, it's going to be very, I would be absolutely shocked. And you know what? I said that last time with the Colts Jags, so who knows? But this is just not a team. They're outmatched in pretty much everything. Like, what do they have over the Chiefs? Maybe front seven?
TJ Watt against Orlando Brown. I don't know.
I mean, I feel bad, but Steelers fans, like,
they're getting Juju back.
Yeah,
that's what they're getting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he practiced today.
Oh, wow.
And he actually has a chance to play. That's pretty cool.
Good for him. But hey, I mean, if this makes me feel a little bit better because they got a worse pick. So all this to lose, but yeah.
This is the biggest mismatch of the weekend. The Steelers somehow got into the playoffs. Lots of good fortune went their way. They have a negative 55-point differential on the year. Negative 55. And Ben Roethlisberger, my feelings on him. He's struggled literally all year. For Pittsburgh, it's a great run. I'll give them props for making the playoffs. Now you're coming to Arrowhead Stadium. They lost 36-10 in Arrowhead in Week 16. The Chiefs basically rested starters at halftime. For the Chiefs to lose, they would need to commit a ton of turnovers and penalties. That is the only way Pittsburgh has a shot. If it is a clean game, Kansas City is going to roll in this one. I don't even think it's going to be close. And the odds makers see that as well. I think it's a 13-point spread. So I'll say this. If the Chiefs lose this game, it'll be their worst loss. It'll be their worst loss in franchise history. And I know that's saying a lot. If you go back, that would probably be the worst.
I mean, I'm the Super Bowl, right? Like, because bigger stakes, but
I see what you're saying. They were also playing the Bucs.
They deserve to lose.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
they were supposed to lose.
They're better across the board. Pittsburgh has such a limited offense, no run defense. They can pressure Patrick Mahomes. I'll give them that. I mean, TJ Watt, he's good for a sack or two, but unless that turns into turnovers, they're not going to have a chance. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, the clean.
Srikar, settle the debate that Anish and I had this episode. Is TJ Watt your defensive player of the year?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
there we go. 2-1.
All right, we'll save it for another day.
I don't see how you can't give it to him. Honestly, Aaron Donald's.
I think it's still, again, for me, it goes. I agree with you. Depoy should always go beyond sacks, but right, game for game, his impact. And I know he missed a few, but he got his team to the playoffs and he was instrumental in a lot of games, right? I always go back to the Seattle one is the one I could just think of right off the top of my head. The Baltimore game too, he disrupted that pass on the 2-point conversion. Like he just makes plays in more than one way. And I think, Aaron Donald, you have a case, but
I wish I could show this full chart that I got, but it's double team rate at the bottom and pass rush win rate at the top.
I think, so Aaron Donald is the best defensive player. But I think it is also for the season, and narratives do come in, right? Like, narratives are always surrounding it. And for a guy to tie the record, right, in only 15 games played, like that is unheard of. So I have to, I have to consider that too.
Watt was double teamed under 20% on the season.
I know, that makes me so mad. That guy,
Donald, one of 3 players above 60%, and Donald still had almost a 10% incremental difference above Watt on pass rush win rate on the season. and
are the
still
other
had a
two?
bunch of like big plays. Like he came through in big moments too. Like remember that Cardinals game?
Yeah. Wait, who are the other two?
Okay, they were I want to say it's Grady Jarrett. Yeah, Grady Jarrett and Javon Hargrave.
Okay, so these are defensive tackles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean, TJ Watt in the realm of guys like
No,
under Josh Sweat, Jerry Hughes, Dante Fowler, Yannick Ngakoue, Matt Judon, Jake Martin, Preston Smith, Mario Addison, Carlos Dunlap. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I agree with you on
Uh-huh.
that. I've always said the double teams, it's just, it helps him a lot. Like his brother was always getting double teamed.
Yeah.
He lined up inside, outside, you name it. So I'm always going to take JJ over TJ. But we're not going to have to talk about this team next week.
We'll get to Aaron Donald's team. Actually, it's the last game of the weekend, first Monday night wildcard game, I believe, ever.
No,
right?
it's happened before.
Really?
It has happened before. It's the first time in ages, though. But it's definitely happened before.
I'm hoping to be at this game, actually. Moved into SC games at SoFi Stadium. Hoping to go sit top level. I don't really care, but I think it'll be a really fun game to go to. Who wants to go first?
Well, I think Srikar has to because he went last.
Yeah,
how long has it been since you went first?
I went first on the Tampa game. I was supposed to go first on the KC.
You're going first.
Yeah, you're going first.
What? I was supposed to go first on the KC.
I'll go after you.
Oh my God. All right. Well, okay. I guess I'll kind of give my breakdown on this one. I honestly think people aren't giving the Cardinals enough of a shot. I know they don't have D-Hop, and I know, the Rams coming off a loss will probably be hungry as hell to get the job done. But this is Stafford's first home playoff game ever. And this is also his first playoff game in, I believe, 5 years. So it's been a while. And for Kyler Murray, this is his first stint. So everything we've seen from him, prior, I think it's a new slate. Like, this is where you make your buck. This is where you define your moments.
For both of them, honestly.
Yeah, for both. And I've said this before, right? Like, I still, Stafford and Kyler are like neck and neck. And I think, whoever wins this game, that's who I'm going to put above in my quarterback rankings. Simply who gets it done. This one honestly tore me up the most. Like, not even the other ones. I was pretty, set in stone on the ones, maybe Bengals, Raiders, but this one is really tough. And like, for the Cardinals defense, they showed they could get after it, but they're just too volatile. They just disappoint in so many different ways that I can't put my more confidence in them than I can in LA, who's won 9 of the last 10 meetings versus Sean McVay is 9-1 versus the Cardinals in his career. 9-1. I have to bank on that, right? And I know they're putting in Eric Weddle, who's a 37-year-old safety. I don't even know if he's going to start, but like, I get it. Like, there are some questions down there, and Kyler is way more magical than Stafford. I would trust, honestly, Kyler on third down more than Stafford. But I think if the Rams can just honestly run the clock down, which they can do, Cooper Kupp is just sensational. We'll get into who's better between him and Jefferson maybe later in the offseason, but you guys know who I'd probably side with. Really close game. I want to pick Arizona so bad, but I can't do it to Cooper Kupp. I'm going with the Rams. I just think they'll find a way. They'll find a way. They don't choke like they do against SF. I think it's a morale type of thing with the Rams and the Niners. But other than that, the Rams are a really solid team.
I think more than any other game this weekend, it's about which quarterback plays better. Who's going to make the big play? Who's going to make that crushing mistake? I think, when you look at Stafford versus Kyler, you got to look out for that. I think more so Stafford, though, because it comes down to whether Stafford will make mistakes. If he plays a clean game, I think the Rams have the defense to control Kyler Murray outside the pocket, so I think they'll be fine there. But look, I could see Stafford having a show-stopping performance. It's, as Anish said this, but it's all about narratives. I could see him having an amazing performance, being loved by the media. But I could also see him, committing 3 turnovers, running into sacks, and media hates him. Look, I'm going to say
also volatile. I agree. Yeah.
I think the Rams should win this game, and I'm going to say they will. But look, Stafford, he really scares me in this game. Like, I hate to say it, Matthew Stafford scares me in this game.
I feel like Kyler has the better chance to go out and win this game, while Stafford probably has, the more likelihood of like losing it for his team. I don't I'm not expecting the ball to be in Stafford's hands as much as Kyler's. Like we see in the playoffs just about every year, teams that are like normally really pass heavy, or teams in just almost every playoff team in general really shifts towards like a run heavy approach when they get to the playoffs early in games. And I feel like the Rams are one of the teams that can be most successful at that. I mean, they're getting
They did it
playmakers.
last year.
Yeah, Darrell Henderson still there. The offensive line, one of the best in the league. I don't know. I'm expecting the Rams to be able to run the ball pretty well on this one, and you know, not ask Stafford to go out, throw the ball 40 to 50 times, and win the game in the wild card round. Like that's something if they get to the Super Bowl, you do that then. But I really think they're going to come out and they're going to try and establish the run. So, and we've mentioned the defense, they figured out how to stop Kyler Murray the last time they played. They did not let him get outside the pocket. Their edges were, you know, great at keeping contain. I don't know. I think that while this is a very close game, and you almost talked me into picking the Cardinals just by like when you were giving your introduction, like, because you reminded me, like, I don't think Stafford's going to go out and win those big games. I don't think he has the ability to win the Super Bowl, you know, a lot of playoff games. Just this one in particular, I don't think he'll be asked to. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Rams in this one.
What's the spread?
The spread is,
Because
I think
if it's over 6,
I think Rams -4.5.
it's Rams -4 now.
Oh, yeah. If it was like 5.5, 6, I would have taken the Cards. Look, I'm scared. I don't know, because the Cards, I don't know what it is, but they play better on the road. And this isn't like,
I don't know if like
they do.
I know,
like,
but I don't know if that correlates. Like I don't know if that's actually.
I guess,
like,
but, and also like look at and this is a dome game, right? It's good weather, so this is where quarterbacks can make a bigger impact, right? If it was snow, right, and you're young QB, okay, yeah, you know, you don't want to make these ill-advised throws, but this is a stadium in which they won in just what? I mean, I know it was like 4 months ago, but they did win in week 4, and that was their kind of a rival game. That's when people started to really consider them. But I don't know. This one for me was actually the toughest because I don't know what it is. When the Cardinals are doubted, they somehow just pull it out. So, and I would not, I think, I don't know, out of us three, I feel like I'm tearing myself apart, but Cardinals like really are, it's like they're pushing me right now, but I'm going to go with LA, but
it's like these are the two teams that I said, like, I think they can be good in the regular season, but I don't really trust them in the playoffs. Like preseason, I was like, I don't think Kyler Murray can really get it done. And I was also like, you know, I just don't think Stafford's really going to win you a playoff game. He hasn't done it yet. And they both play each other. So I have to pick one.
Yeah. I don't think Kyler ever played in the playoffs in college, right? I don't think
no, he never did.
No, he wasn't on that. The last time Oklahoma was in
Baker. It was Hurts.
Hurts. Yeah. Hurts or
So
Baker played against Georgia.
They missed Kyler's 1 year. So Baker made it, Kyler didn't, Hurts made it.
Yeah.
I think so I mean, hey, this is really his first playoff game since high school. So
well, and I'd argue he played in one last year and in the last week of the season needing to get a win and make the playoffs. That's basically a playoff game. If we're considering Chargers Raiders this year,
right? Like
I know, but at this point in the season, no one's 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup. Hopefully I get to go. I don't know how to cheer in that game. Like I'm not a fan of either of these teams. I don't know who to cheer for. I guess I'll cheer for like the hometown team. And
I mean, cheer for the better receiver, Robert. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Wow. Praying on injury. Like, look at that.
No, not like that. Not like that. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you want, you can borrow my Cooper Kupp shirt, but
no, I'll probably just go, root for the defensive player of the year, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We mentioned it at the start. You guys are in this. Congratulations on your season in picks, but there's another one starting right now. Go to our Instagram. It's always down in the bio of the episode, whether you're any platform you're on, it's down there. 6 polls. You make 6 picks. By the end, we add up, the fan totals, and that's your guys' pick. You really have a chance. It's a short slate, so it's anyone's game at this point. So definitely go down in the description and vote for that. If you're on YouTube, please consider hitting the subscribe button, the like button, hitting the notification bell, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you know what to do. Leave a 5-star review if you really enjoy the show. Follow along for future episodes. We'll be back next week. Whether we do 2 episodes or 1, not quite sure yet. Probably 1, just because we aren't going to have as many games next week. But we'll be back next week for sure to break down what is supposed to be, I think it'll be one of the best weekends that we've seen for wildcard games in a really long time. There's some great matchups, and we hope you guys all enjoy them. That's all we got for you guys today.
There's some college content on the way though.
College content on the way. Yeah. Videos might be coming back soon. The ones that you guys really liked last year. Just a little sneak peek, some draft content too. So we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We've been the Call of Truth podcast, and we will see you next time.